All right, so if you are currently watching this, you must be a student for CS1332, and this is going to be a video showing how to set up IntelliJ Checkstyle, run JUnits, and create a project that you can put your homework files in so you guys can get all set up to start your homeworks. So the very first thing you're going to want to do is download IntelliJ itself, the IDE. So you can type IntelliJ, click on the download link, then you're going to go ahead and not pick the ultimate, but instead pick community. So just exit all that. Download whichever one works for your OS. Click download, and you're going to come to the screen and you should see it enter here and start downloading. So we're going to give it a second, and then once that's done, we'll go on to the next step. All right, so as you can see here, it's officially done, and we'll be clicking on this to open up the actual IDE. Give it a second. It's loading up right now. All right, so as you can see, this has now popped up, and now you will continue with the setup. Put it wherever you feel comfortable. So I'm gonna put it in my desktop. Just put it there, hit next. You don't need to select any of these. You can just go ahead and hit next, and wait for it to finish installing. All right, so it's finished being set. So now we're gonna have it run and click finish. Give it a second. All right, so as you can see, it's up and running, and I already have some projects here that work on IntelliJ, so that's how you see this, but you probably would just see a place for new projects. So we can finally X this out and bring back that. And so what you're going to do is you're going to first create a brand new project. So this is us going through how I would create my homework one for this class. So instead of putting it in there, I'm gonna put it in just my documents. Just put it here, select that folder. So here you wanna make sure this IntelliJ is set, and for this class we use JDK17, so make sure you're selecting some JDK17. If you don't see it here, you can click download JDK, and in here you can select 17, and regardless of what it is, you can just hit select, and that works too. And it'll download it as it creates the project, and you'll be able to select that next time. So you can go ahead and do that and click create. And in the end, you should get this as your default project right here. So as you can see, it's set up as a source folder, a main file all created. One second. Okay, so right now it's having errors with basic things like the system and all, but that's just because it's still downloading the JDK17. So just give it a second and let that go ahead and run. And eventually when it's done downloading, these errors should go away. So let's just give that a second to finish up. So as you can see, it's slowly getting through that as it's scanning the indexes. And it looks about good. So right now this is now created and it's mostly set up with JDK. This is some stuff going on in the background, but as far as you need to know, you're all set. So this is just creating the project. Now for the part where you're actually going in and creating your homework project. So the way I like to do is go straight to files. Once you get here, this is actually also part of us setting up the check style. Go to coding setup, click check style, and then download this XML file. So go ahead and download it because we're going to use it to set up the actual XML file for the projects. And then for the homework, so if you just go to modules, go ahead to homework one, which is one we'll be working off of. Click on that. Then just download the homework files right here. as well. So now both of those are currently downloading along with the zip file. So now if we go ahead and open this again, we can check our folders, look at our downloads. And so we see the homework zip file. So if you go in here, open the homework zip file, and then actually go ahead and select the Java files you want to work with. So select them and copy them. And then you can go back to wherever you created the project. So like I call this homework 1 right here. Go into the source folder like this. Go in here and hit paste, Control V. And then you can go ahead and delete the main Java file. You don't need that anymore. So as you can see, the change we did in here actually showed up inside the file. And you'll see that you can now pull up your array list.java files in here. And once they're in here, you can see that this is the file you'll be implementing your methods in. Right now, there are compiler errors because it's missing return statements here, but we'll fix those later on. Then you can also see your test file. So if you look at your array list file, the test file will always have this issue. This is because the JUnits aren't added to the class path. So the way to fix that whenever you get this issue is to click on one of the red texts, look for the red light bulb, and then click Add JUnit 4 to class path. So go ahead and do that and then hit OK. And then all these errors will go ahead and disappear. And then you'll be able to see these green arrows, which will allow you to run each of these JUnits either individually, like this, or the whole file like this. If you do this and you don't see the green arrows immediately, just X out of the entire IntelliJ IDE and come back in and it should appear. It does that sometimes, so that's perfectly normal. So that's just the basics of the project, having the files there in your project for you to run. And then to set up Checkstyle, you're going to go ahead to Settings. You're going to go over here, and if it's your first time setting it up, you have to go to first into Plugins. Type that in. Go into here, make sure you're under Marketplace. Type in Checkstyle. And you're going to have to install it. Mine is already installed, but you're going to have to install it, restart, and then you should be fine. So once you've finished installing it and restarting it, Checkstyle idea right here, you can go back to settings, go to here again, type in Checkstyle, click this, and you'll see here you can click your Checkstyle version, treat it as a warning, so on and so forth. So you can just leave the version as is at 11. I recommend selecting treat Checkstyle errors as warnings so that you can see the errors directly in your IDE as you're coding. And then you're going to want to configure the file. So you're going to hit that plus sign, write a description for that Checkstyle. I like to call it CS1332. Then browse for where you put your XML file. So the XML file we downloaded is in my downloads. It's right here. You select wherever you have that CS1332 checkstyle.xml file. Then you hit next, hit finish. Then now it's here as an option. So select it as one of your files for configuration, apply it, and then hit OK. So once you've done that, let's go back to this actual homework file. You can click this upside down pencil. It's for Checkstyle. If you select it, you'll see here it'll give you options to pick active configurations. Go ahead and pick one, and you'll see your named file right here. Mine was called CS1332, so that's why it's here. And then you can go ahead and run that file to scan this file to see if there's any Checkstyle errors. So currently there aren't any, but let's say we put a little space bar here and we try to run it again, it'll find the Checkstyle error. And if you're in a different location and you don't know where the issue is coming from, double click this and it will take you directly to where the issue is, which is this. If you're having issues and it isn't showing you where the errors are, make sure all of these are selected. So this red, yellow, and blue options are selected, and it will show you exactly where the errors are and what line and take you there as well. So we fixed that issue though, we run it again, and the Checkstyle issues are gone. As far as actually running JUnits, if you want to quickly test how they look when they're run, first I'm going to quickly write return statements here for all of these methods to make sure that this file compiles. So if your actual file does not compile, these won't work, the JUnits will not work. So I'm going to quickly put those here, like so. Have this return true. And I think now this file has no errors, right? There's no red line there. So this is now a file that compiles, but obviously doesn't work. So to test basic JUnits, just feel free to click this green arrow, hit run test initialization. It will run just this individual test. And it should fail considering I have done no implementation. So right now it's currently building and running. And once it finishes running, you're going to see how that uh, works. So give it a second. It's going to sit here. This yellow X means it fails the test. It realizes that you returned a null array because you didn't initialize anything. So this is a failed test. It'll be a green check mark when the actual thing works, and it'll be yellow when it doesn't work, and it'll be red when there's a compiler error or a runtime error. So if you want to run the entire file, you just hit this button and run the entire file, and it'll run all those tests and not just individual ones. So here we should fail every single test considering nothing has been implemented. As you can see, it fails every test because nothing is implemented. And yeah, so that's basically the basic of how things work here. This is all you really need to set up and go ahead and start. For every project, you want to make sure to do what I did with the Checkstyle, which is all just going into the Checkstyle settings and making sure you set your configuration. So making sure you do that properly. That's what you need to do every single project, but the rest of these things you obviously don't need to do again. But this is how I recommend working with your projects. So just make sure to create a new project and just copy paste the files you need into the source folder, delete the main one that's created, and work from there. But yeah, I hope this was helpful, and let us know if there's anything else we could be of help with. You guys, good luck with the homework.